Let's move on, Dave. Let's kind of switch into the second thing. So NBA, but more NBA draft, where ESPN put out an article today that said big NBA draft questions, what
Yeah.
scouts want to see from top prospects. And there was I was kind of picking some to where I'm like, oh, this could be some interesting stuff looking at the draft, but kind of in like a little bite-sized form. So there's
Mhm.
three little things from this article that I wanted to hit. The first one, and this was by Jonathan Giovanni and Mike Schmidt.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they took like turns answering
yeah.
some of these questions. The first one was, what are evaluators looking from the current 1-2 of Cade Cunningham and Evan Mobley? Schmitz talked about this one, and I've got two snippets and then a question from our end. He said the only player in the country that averages at least 20.7 boards, 4 steals, a block, and a steal per 40 minutes. I think he meant 7 or 4 assists, 1 steal. Cade Cunningham has backed up his number 1 status through 10 games at Oklahoma State. Yes, scouts will want to see the rangy 6'8" guard remain efficient and consistent amid what figures to be a rigorous Big 12 schedule. After a light non-conference non-conference slate, the Cowboys have suffered 3 amazing losses over the past 4 games, falling to TCU, Texas, and West Virginia by a total of 5 points. Later on, he mentions Mobley, and he says, as for Mobley, scouts will be watching to see if he can kick it up a notch with his offensive aggression and defensive dominance, as he ranks just 27th in our top 100 in defensive rebound percentage and is coming off a 2.5 rebound 30-minute game against Utah in which he attempted 0 field goals in a vacuum. Mobley is exactly what every NBA team wants in a big man, as he can protect the rim with an outstanding timing, guard, quick pick and roll, handle, pass, shoot threes, and finish with a feathery touch at 7 foot and a wingspan of 7'4". This I thought about, and I was like, this is interesting, because both you and I, like, yet again, ESPN may have on their big board Cunningham, Mobley, and then Suggs. I don't know who they have at third, but they have Cunningham and then Mobley. Both you and I, especially in the draft that we did a while ago, we both had Cunningham, Suggs, 1, 2. Do you see Evan Mobley being a guy that, if we see what Schmidt was talking about, could he be the number 2 in this class? Or is it like what I think? It's going to be Cade, Jaylen, and then probably Mobley.
We got to specify which Jaylen, Ricky. There's 7 of them in the draft.
Jaylen Suggs, not Jaylen Johnson.
Jalen Wilson or Jalen Green.
All the Jaylens. Jalen Rose.
It is the year of Jalen. It's because of Jalen Rose.
Mm-hmm.
He would take credit for it. I already have Mobley as my 2. Okay. He's already there. Like, okay. He is special. And because of his size, because of everything said right there, like he jumped Suggs like literally 3 games into the season.
Okay.
It did not take long watching him, because Suggs had such a pop-off performance that he catapulted himself to the top. And then the more games I've watched of him, I'm like, he's good, but he's not great. And what I want out of a top pick is great. I'm going to take someone who has like Chris Bosh tendencies out there and just looks absolutely amazing. I understand the concerns from a bad game here or there, but a bad game doesn't take anything away from the fact that he's 7 foot tall, 7'4" wingspan, still growing, still has a shot, still has a handle. Yeah. I want all that. I want all that in my player. If you'd like to draft the next Anthony Davis generational talent, then yeah, that's the guy you're looking for.
Yeah, and I think, like, to me, that's what I'm starting to think is going to be the discussion of this draft. I think is going to mirror what we saw in the Zion draft, where Cade Cunningham, Dave, point to the board, where is he?
Cade Cunningham, number 1.
Like,
never gonna go away.
He's going to be the number 1 pick all season. Like, every mock draft we do, it's just going to be like Cade Cunningham, number 1, no matter what team wins the lottery and is there at number 1. But it's going to turn into what was the discussion after Zion. Like, for us, it was more of like, well, is RJ second? Is Cam Reddish second? Like, other players started rising. It's like we were all talking about who's second, who's third, who's second, who's third.
I was pretty early on who was second.
John Morant, Dave.
I was pretty early on who's second. I had him in my top 10 to start the season, preseason, and then he was quickly number 2 on the big board.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because even Schmidt later on, like, they asked the question of what will NBA teams be looking for from Gonzaga's top prospects, and Schmidt also was the one answering this. With Jaylen, he said, if Jalen Suggs shuts it down right now, he'd still likely be a lock to hear his name called in the top 4 or 5 come draft night, with signature performances against Kansas, Iowa, and Auburn. He also went on to say, like, he brought up Corey Kispert, where he said teams more or less know what they're getting from the 21-year-old 6'7" sharpshooter,
Joe Harris.
Kispert.
You're getting Joe Harris.
Yeah, that he mentioned. He said
they worked out together.
Right here, he goes, Kispert continuing to torch the nets of a variety of different actions in WCC play should lead to some lottery discussions, earning Joe Harris comparisons, Dave.
They literally worked out together this summer.
So look at that. You talking in the Discord how you could be a scout, Dave. You should have one of these jobs.
I did a little research. I found out that they happen to share a gym. They happen to give a little back and forth, maybe a little tips given.
Yeah.
It's not just the lazy white guy comparison out here. It is he generally crafted his game along with Joe Harris, so it makes sense that he has Joe Harris comps.
Yeah. With the whole, like, because really it was the Suggs and Mobley thing that I was thinking about is I think with that discussion it's going to be who ends up being second, because I feel like if a team like the Warriors, because they have the T-Wolves pick, if they're a team that's at second, yes, I know they just drafted Wiseman, but maybe there's somebody that's like, hey, let's go ahead and, like, it depends on, do they want front court help? Do they want a point guard? Do they want back court help? Do they want a point guard and Suggs? Do they want front court help? Want a more of like a 4-5 in Mobley, or if they see Mobley as the 5, hey, we can bump Wiseman out to the 4 in some situations. Like that, I'm not saying is like the first
Golden State protections on that pick. They will only get it if it lands 4 and beyond.
4 and beyond, so they won't get it.
So Minnesota will keep 1 through 3.
So let's see. Even like, let's say Washington may take Mobley over Suggs because they already got Russ and Beal. So, like, I know they got Thomas Bryant, but if
you
they're
take
looking,
Mobley in a heartbeat.
Yeah, like if you're looking, then we can shot
Someone
Bryant.
who could play
and then,
defense.
Yeah.
Period.
Period. What we thought they would have done this draft.
Ask Jake about defense in Washington.
Man. Like when we were saying if Onyeka Okongwu falls to the Wizards, you take him.
Yeah, but instead they got Denny at the end. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
Win-win.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm trying to see what teams, because like I'll just rapid fire you. Tell me if they'd go point guard or big. Raptors big, right? After they lost Gasol and Serge,
they're losing Kyle Lowry potentially.
Good point.
He's on his final year of his deal. I don't know. That one's a toss-up. You take BPA.
Wizards.
Mobley. I would take Mobley. I would take Mobley.
It would be T-Wolves then at 2.
Correct. T-Wolves.
Yeah, so
I would still take Mobley.
Yeah. Grizzlies.
I feel bad saying I would still take Mobley.
You got John Morant. Like that's the thing. Yeah. Unless you feel like John Morant's injury is going to hinder him in some way.
Jaylen Suggs plays off ball.
The Thunder.
Mobley.
The Hornets.
Mobley.
The Blazers.
Mobley. Literally every team so far. I don't like.
The last 3 are the Spurs.
Mobley.
The Nuggets.
That one is Jamal Murray's not gone, but Jamal Murray's there. I just don't know.
Dave, the trickiest of them all. The Bulls. We could use either one. Like Mobley, like people are complaining about Wendell's defense. We could take him, but we really need that point guard, Dave. That's
I don't know that Jaylen Suggs is
Oh, I'd want
Cade.
Cade.
We're getting Cade Cunningham, Ricky. Don't worry about it. We'll get Cade Cunningham.
Both are going to be a 1, man. Like, it ain't going to matter. We're Cade Cunningham.
Cade.
But yeah, like that was the first one. The other one was they talked about the Kentucky players, and we talked about BJ or Brandon, however you want to call him, at Kentucky. Yep. And Giovanni said something interesting that got me thinking. They're fucking struggling. There is no doubt in a mind that Kentucky is struggling. But he said this. He said, NBA teams have been burned in the past by undervaluing Kentucky players, including Jamal Murray, Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker, Tyler Hero, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Keldon Johnson, who later proved be far better prospects than what they had shown in college. The hope among optimists is that B.J. Boston's inability to show anything beyond small glimmers of what made him such a coveted prospect in high school lies more in Kentucky's archaic offense, poorly constructed roster, and his own lack of physical strength than deal-breaking talent shortcomings. And he also brought up the Tyrese Maxey, how it looks like Tyrese Maxey having a good year so far. So, like, for me...
Manuel Quickley, having a great year so far.
SEC Player of the Year, Manuel Quickley.
Let's put some respect on it.
So, like, I look at it and I go, could B.J. Boston fall into what we've seen with Kentucky players, where some of them are overlooked, they go later than they probably should have or would go in redrafts, and then B.J. Boston is going to have a good NBA career. However, Dave, it comes down to it also. Where does he end up? That is the question. Where does he end up? Because, like, you look at most of those situations, Tyler Hero and Bam went to Miami.
Went to a good team.
You've got Jamal went to the Nuggets, who's playing with Jokic. Devin Booker has been the lone bright spot for the Suns for most of his career.
That's fair, yeah.
Keldon Johnson goes to the Spurs. That's a good organization. Shai, he got drafted by the Clippers and then got traded to the Thunder, right?
Yeah, he I think he initially was drafted by the Hornets, traded to the Clippers for Miles Bridges, right. And played out his season there, then obviously over to the Thunder in the Paul George deal.
Mm-hmm. So, like, for me, I almost look at it and I go, should we be ragging on B.J. Boston so much because of what we've seen from past Kentucky to where it's like a bad year at Kentucky this year isn't going to necessarily mean he's not going to pan out in the NBA?
Yeah. It for as many of those good examples, you have as many bad examples too.
Okay.
I mean, it's too early to say probably, but when you look at someone who had a bad time at Kentucky, but hyper prospect.
I mean, look at the Harrison twins.
Jared Vanderbilt, Hamidou Diallo, Kevin Knox. These are guys. Malik Monk. I hate to admit it, but I will say it out loud. These are guys who were very good prospects who came into a team, could not perform. Tyler Ulis. I mean, he was a midget, but that's not really here nor there. But it's very hard to succeed in the NBA at 5'8". Scale, like, again, you have a long list of successful guys in Kentucky.
There's also a long
list of guys who had solid years in Kentucky.
Good point.
Who are not performing at a high level in the league. So I think that it's Willie Cauley-Stein.
So really, the point should be with B.J. Boston. The thing that is going to hinder his success most is where he lands. Like, I know that's for anybody, but, like, you look at the list that you said, like, we could go on the other side of, like, I know Willie Cauley-Stein was the Kings. It's like, how many of these guys went to situations that were like, man, if you would have ended in a better situation, this would have.
If Willie Cauley-Stein gave a shit about basketball, he'd be amazing. We've seen it for chunks at a time, but he just doesn't all the time. So it's very tough to blame an organization for his own shortcomings.
Yeah,
I think that's a self-motivation problem. It's he doesn't want it enough kind of an issue.
And yet again, like, as this draft process goes on, these guys are going to be hyper analyzed.
Yeah.
And with BJ, it's like, is it?
I understand the love to not bury a kid who's literally like 18, 19 years old. We've seen 8 games out of him or 10 games out of him. I forget what the count is for college right now.
Yeah.
But like, the guy who is a bucket getter for you is shooting like 30, 15 splits. You can't have that.
Yeah.
I understand you don't have a point guard. I understand you don't have an offensive system, but you have to be able to knock down a shot in order to be a shooter. Like those make Hamidou Diallo look like a good shooter.
Yeah.
That's some scary shit out there. That's my concern is like, we will have to wait and see. I want to see more of them on the season. We'll watch Kentucky, watch them develop. He's a guy who's probably going to help himself more in workouts and team visits than any other player at the top of this draft.
And then the last one was basically they had who are some players outside the top 5 that have impressed you so far? One of the names, Dave, I'll start you off with that they mentioned is your boy from Duke, Jaylen Johnson. They said a foot injury sidelined the top 10 pick after only 4 games, but he's expected back soon, in his own words, from a since-deleted tweet. NBA scouts have a lot to learn about the highly versatile forward who has flashed glimpses of immense talent as a playmaker, but has also struggled with his shot selection and decision-making.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say it out loud, and it's not for the reasons everybody wants to say, but like Jaylen Johnson gives me a little Justice Winslow vibes.
Okay.
He's a do-it-all wing who I don't know if he's amazing at anything just yet, but I think he's got like the raw talent to be good at everything.
Yeah. And
I think it's a matter of time. I think it's not an if, but a when. And I think he's someone who looks like he's super committed to growing his game. I went back and started watching some of his high school stuff to see like where did his shot start at? Where's that now? How is he on, offense? Does he know anything about rotating on defense? Like where's all this stuff? It's all still very raw, but there's improvement. And that's why I like to see. So Jaylen Johnson, you're right. I love the kid. He's a top 5 pick. He's got huge upside. And if he's back soon, can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah, because he didn't play in yesterday's game where they won by 1 point over the Boston College Eagles. Would you say he's still both? I had to double check where you and I had him. Both you and I in the mock had him at 6 to the Spurs. He's still a top 10 pick, right? It's like
100%.
nothing. Like, okay, so it's
100%.
Like because I was thinking,
how high can he get up there? Will someone like a Scotty Barnes overtake him? Will someone else surprisingly get up there? I mean, I'll be honest. Like, there's a lot of guys moving right now on my board. I know it's not an article, but can I bring up?
Go ahead.
What are we supposed to make of Tennessee and all these fucking guards? Because they're all incredible.
I have no fucking clue.
They're all very good.
Yeah, like they even mentioned. I didn't put him on my list, but Keon Johnson. Like you've got Keon Johnson out there. You've got Jaden Springer, who I have talked numerous about either on podcast or in the watch along, to where I have a feeling like it's not like a exact A to B comp, but I have a feeling he is going to be the Kobe White of this draft, where it's like you're drafting a guy who's a combo, but he's more of a 2 than a 1. So it's like if you're drafting him to be the 1, it's going to be kind of like, I don't want to say hard sledding, but it's like if you need a scorer and someone who can play both, great. But if you need a 1, stay away from him, kind of a thing.
But you also have Josiah Jordan-James out there.
Yep.
Like they literally have 3 guards who could all be first-round picks.
Yeah.
And every time I watch them, I see something I like about one of them, and it's like, oh, thank you. That guy gets a tally here. This guy gets a tally here. This one for that. Like, it's fun to watch Tessie play. And I got blurry for a sec.
You're back.
And it's one of those situations where I'm like, I know I'm watching the best team in the nation play right now, and maybe that's helping. Like everyone shines because they're doing the little things right, and as a team, they're just better than everyone they face so far. So 1-loss team on the season. Yeah, the Bama loss sucks, but like I really do think this is probably the best team in the nation, and because they're the best team, everyone looks that much better.
And like
someone talked about being a late round pick or a late 2 last year in Pons is someone who people have flying up to maybe the late first round because he's just a versatile defender. And they're like, well, he's got upside. He was late to the game of basketball. You tell that same old story again, but like there's interesting pieces of that team. And I think the fact they've got 3 guards who are legitimately first round talents is going to be intriguing to see how that shakes out.
Because like even the thing about Keon Johnson that the article says, and this is where I read this and I was like, are we going to see now? Of course, Patrick Williams, there was more than just this that made people like him, but people are saying with Patrick Williams, look at what he was able to do. And he was coming off the bench. One of the things that his coach in an interview was like, NBA scouts are seeing that he's a guy that doesn't have to start, that he can come out. Like Keon Johnson's doing the same thing, 20 minutes off the bench, and he's playing well off of the bench. So like, are scouts going to look at that and go, that's a good thing? If we have to have him come off the bench, it ain't going to be a deterior or a kind of,
it's not going to be an ego issue.
Yeah, like
are we all about winning? You know,
are we going to hear those storylines as we get close to the draft?
Marvin Bagley's dad wants him traded.
Or De'Aaron Fox's dad wants Bagley traded. That's what it was. I thought.
No, it was Marvin Bagley's dad was demanding a trade.
Okay. Then the article I saw the headline for was De'Aaron Fox's dad might have.
Bagley said something, or Bagley's dad said something, then Bagley said something, then De'Aaron said something, then De'Aaron's dad
said something. That's what it was. Okay.
It chained through the family.
Are they okay? Are they on opposite sides? For me personally with this, the last two that I wanted to bring up is when I saw Jared, because they had Jared Butler on the list. He is somebody I love. He is going to be like my Lewis King, Dave. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that guy
because he'll actually make it in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. But that older player that I latch onto and I go, this is my guy. He's like I feel like if you are a team later in the draft, I think between like 20 and 30, if you need a guard who can play good defense on the perimeter and can lock someone down, draft this kid. Take him in a heartbeat because he is like what he brings to the game defensively is so good to where it's like I feel like most playoff teams would need him and need a player that he can develop into. The other one, I will be completely honest, saw his footage from today because of this article and Cam Thomas from LSU.
You're starting to watch the LSU kids like me.
Watching his footage, I'm like, he's going to be in my mock draft. Like, I watched the footage between him and Florida. Watching him shoot threes, drive, I'm like, fuck, this kid's a first-round pick.
They got two legit NBA talents on the roster, maybe 2.5.
Wofford and Thomas.
Like, they are a legitimate team, and I love to see it. So I'm glad that you're jumping on that train. I'm surprised, somebody who's made a late rise, David Johnson, looks like he'll be trying to break into the first round. Book Night, basically Zach LaVine Jr. They're calling him. Where do you? I've seen some of the highlights.
Future slam dunk champion.
His athleticism is out there, man. Like he is a scorer through and through. So that's the interesting one because like there's balanced players, there's shooters, there's scorers, there's two-way defenders, but there's guys who just jump off the page at you. And Book Night is one of those guys who is just like, I could watch 8 seconds of a game and instantly know who he is. Like he jumps off the page. So I think there's gonna be a lot of interesting movement in this draft. And we still haven't even seen like the G League highlight show kind of shit to watch Jalen Green and Kuminga and Knicks and like there's a lot of good talent this year. A lot of good talent.